Week marks 3 years since the chaotic and deadly U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan and the return of the Taliban control over the country. New video this week shows the terror group celebrating their return to power. In this military parade, they show off some of the helicopters, guns, and trucks left behind by the U.S. and NATO. Reports estimate that about $7 billion in U.S. equipment was left behind, including 78 aircraft, 12,000 Humvees, 42,000 trucks, and 350,000 rifles. For more on this, I'm joined by NewsNation senior national security contributor, Lieutenant General Richard Newton. General Newton served as the Assistant Vice Chief of Staff for U.S. Air Force. General Newton, I have to tell you, I saw this video and I had a visceral reaction and had to remind myself to be professional because it bothers me on a deep level, and I have to believe you feel the same.
Absolutely. You and I are both veterans. We certainly understand, and you and I were on air, as I recall, back a couple years or so ago, 3 years specifically, what I coined and you and I discussed, that debacle of withdrawal from Afghanistan. And that video clip you have there is actually from Bagram Air Base. I've been there. And as the Taliban are parading U.S. military equipment, by the way, that is now being turned back into the hands of not only the Taliban, but certainly those 300,000 or so weapons and ammunition are back into what we call the black market of weapons that are finding themselves into Kashmir, or finding themselves even into Gaza in the hands of Hamas. It was a debacle withdrawal. And this parade we see right here, as I mentioned, the Taliban rubbing it in our face, literally, at Bagram Air Base. In front of, they brought in 10,000 men. By the way, they did not even allow women to attend this thing. There's reportedly that diplomats from Iran and China are there as well. But it just goes to show what I believe was a absolutely debacle, a poor decision from the Biden administration to hastily leave Afghanistan. And in the wake of that, we see these weapons that are in the hands of the Taliban as they now ruthlessly rule over Afghanistan. It's just a really bad chapter in American national security, in my view.
Yeah, absolutely. General Newton, it doesn't matter what side of the political aisle you're on. That withdrawal was a travesty. I can still remember images, and we're not showing them today, of people trying to hang on to the plane, just desperate to get out of there. These were those who helped us on the ground, who were often providing information to our allies to help us fight the Taliban, and then were just kind of left behind. And now we're seeing them actually parade these weapons that we use to fight them. We're hearing reports that they've sold some of these weapons to our enemies. Do you think that this parade, though, that we're seeing, this images that we're seeing this morning, is it more for optics or almost like a show of force? Or do you believe the Taliban poses a real threat now with the equipment that they have?
Well, it certainly is an information operation campaign that not only to those in the region, but also the rest of the world, that the Taliban is still in place, frankly, alive and well, ruling over Afghanistan. I do not believe they pose a threat, however, Nick, to outside or external to Afghanistan, but they also show, again, what poor, national security decisions can play out, regardless of an administration. If again, these decisions are left to some very poor decision makers or poor decision points in this case. So that said, it does, however, there still is an opportunity for those who want to do us harm. It could be ISIS, could be Al-Qaeda, who still want to perhaps provide, there's a haven for them to flourish inside of Afghanistan. But again, not an existential threat that we've seen, perhaps leading up to 9/11. Let me also mention this, Nick. We had, I want to make sure our viewers understand the valiant service that our men and women in uniform, and certainly those in the diplomatic corps, served during the 20 years that we were in Afghanistan. We lost 2,400 Americans killed in action and over 20,000 wounded. That's not to say and the hundreds of thousands of men and women who served over there that served valiantly. It's the broader political decisions that were made that we see ensuing in terms of these Taliban parading now in front of us, literally at our airbase, Bagram Air Base, which was the center of U.S. air power in the Mideast for many years. So it's, again, as we come up on the Democratic National Convention, we've got an election coming up in November. Votes count, votes matter. I'm not making this into a domestic political discussion, but nonetheless, national security is now key. And frankly, if the United States doesn't lead, then that vacuum is going to be filled with others.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.